O.J. Simpson, the former American footballer who was controversially cleared of double murder, has died at the age of 76 after a battle with cancer. His family confirmed the news on social media, saying he was surrounded by his children and grandchildren when he passed away on Wednesday. In 1995, O.J., whose full name was Orenthal James Simpson, was acquitted of the murder of his former wife, Nicole Brown, and her friend Ron Goldman in a trial that gripped the world. O.J. was then jailed in 2008 for 33 years on an armed robbery charge before being released in 2017. I think any of us who are old enough now to remember 1995 know just how big a deal that was. 24-hour news was in its infancy and American networks cleared their schedules. Football games weren't being showed so that people, this was before the trial, so that people could watch that car chase of him in the white car, which he subsequently tried to sell and earn some money out of, saying it did me good, now you can buy it. You can see it there. He was there with his teammate. And this was a man who had gone from one of the top 3 most recognisable and liked Americans to one of the most vilified men in the world, causing huge race relations disquiet, and then, of course, what was called the trial of the century. It'll be fascinating to see his obituaries in tomorrow's papers, to see, as history begins to relate what he was and how bad he was.
It's crazy how much influence that trial had. So that car he drove in, sales skyrocketed in America after that.
Was it called the Bronco?
Ford Bronco, yeah. It was the birth of reality TV. Robert Kardashian was his lawyer.
Yeah.
Rob Kardashian then went to have the rest of the Kardashian family. They became the biggest family ever on reality TV. And he was the first sports star who really made a proper venture into acting. Now we see it all the time. But for him, he was supposed to be the Terminator, not Arnold Schwarzenegger. He turned down the role. He was a massive, huge deal, bigger than Beckham.
And I think the lawyers as well they did get huge coverage. I think it was a woman lawyer who was prosecuting them.
Yeah, and Cochrane.
Was
Johnny
involved,
Cochran, yeah.
So they got huge coverage. And you're right, it was reality television. Before reality television, it completely dominated the airways. Of course, the question that's being unsaid is, was he guilty? And obviously, in my view, he was completely guilty, and I can say that now. He can't sue me.
Finally.
But it was extraordinary. But it also brought home to a certain extent, the difference between America and the UK. I mean, celebrity culture kind of triumphed. This guy was on trial for a brutal, brutal murder. But as you say, there's things like his car suddenly became this bestseller. He became this celebrity, even though he was being tried for
such a serious crime. But it's also that celebrity, if you like, in the public persona can trump. And
yes,
it's probably the wrong word to use, but
probably the right
maybe the right word can trump the sort of the reality of him, the person, and him and what he did,
and the evidence,
and everything else. But then also the way and the differences between the American legal system and ours.
Yeah.
And as you say, the celebrity star that not only befitted him because he had been on TV 24/7 and people were almost watching it as a drama. But as you say, all the lawyers and everybody else, that suddenly people were saying, oh, this stuff is interesting. We want experts. We want people who have done real jobs. This is what we want to see. And the amount of money in the spin-offs, and then, of course, the movies of the situations and the dramatisations and all this stuff. I mean, it sets a very awful precedent. And I suppose the other thing is that it then becomes trial by media in a very different way.
Mm. And, of course, the trial was one of the biggest TV ratings. It was the biggest TV rating trial there'd ever been, but it became one of the biggest TV shows ratings that there had been up to that point.
And that Netflix drama series is fantastic. David Schwimmer, Cuba Gooding Jr.
And Cochrane said in his final summation to the jury, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. That was his catchphrase.
Cinderella gone wrong, wasn't it?
Extraordinary.